keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. Ooh, oh, you say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I think I'm weak. And you say I'm held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe, oh, I believe what you say of me. I believe, oh, I believe.
Moms, you are more than enough. You are loved. You are appreciated. You are valuable. You are significant. And the one thing that every single one of you moms here today share in common is that you are each unique and special. Happy Mother's Day. Could we just hear it for all the moms in the crowd? Yes, yes, yes. Wow. Well, since it's Mother's Day, I want to talk to you today about how to show mercy at home. Would you take the outline out of your program entitled Showing Mercy in Your Home? I asked my wife, Christy, I said, honey, what do you think my Mother's Day message should be? She looked at me and she said, short. So we better get right with it, okay? You know, after listening to moms for many years, what I've discovered is that what most moms really want is that their home to just be a safe, healthy, happy environment that is marked with peace and harmony. And the question is, how do you make your home this safe, healthy, happy environment that is marked with peace and harmony? In a word, it would be mercy. You say, Jim, what do you mean by the word mercy? Mercy is love in action. And because mercy is love in action, we're going to take a look at this most famous chapter in the Bible that is known as the love chapter. We're going to take a look at one excerpt from 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 4 through 8. And this is what we read. Love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. What I find absolutely amazing is that in just these 4 verses of Scripture, there are 15 characteristics of love. Now, you can relax and take a deep breath because it's Mother's Day. We're not going to go through all 15 characteristics of love today, but I would like to take a few moments and just talk about 4 ways that we can show mercy in the home. Now, before we jump into these 4 ways of showing mercy at home, I have to just tell you right up front, I've not mastered these 4 ways of showing mercy in the home. I would be less than honest if I were to stand here before you and say, I've got this down, I've figured it all out, and I'm going to tell you how it works. That's not my approach. I too am a fellow struggler, but I've learned a few things, and I hope to be able to share these things with you. 4 ways of showing mercy at home. Number 1, first of all, we show mercy at home by overlooking irritations and offenses. Have you noticed how that in everybody's home, we have good times and we have bad times? We have our ups and downs, and yet behind closed doors in every home, we kind of get on each other's nerves. We sometimes jab at each other, and things we say and we do that just bugs the daylights out of each other and aggravates each other. And all of this goes on in the home. And what would it take somehow to show mercy? It would be to overlook the irritations and the offenses. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13 and verse 5, we read, love is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. Notice those words, it's not easily angered. Did you know that anger is the most misunderstood human emotion? And did you know that by far, anger is the most mismanaged human emotion? Did you know that not all anger is necessarily bad, wrong, or evil, or sin? That there are good expressions of anger. In fact, sometimes anger may be the most appropriate way to respond to a certain situation. Did you know that anger can be the most authentic way to express raw passion and real love? So there is a good kind of anger, and there is a bad kind of anger. There is a righteous anger, and there is an unrighteous anger. There is a selfless anger and a selfish anger. Selfless anger is based on love. Selfish anger is based on hurt, bitterness, and pride. And the one thing that every single one of us have in common, more so than anything else, is that we've all have this God-breathed capacity to be angry. And the scripture tells us to be angry, but don't sin in your anger. You say, what? How do you do that? Well, again, some anger is good and other expressions of anger is bad. There are some things in life we ought to be angry about. We ought to be angry about racial profiling and bigotry. We ought to be angry about the threat on marriage, family, and the sanctity of innocent unborn babies. And we ought to be angry about things in life, the injustices where innocent people are suffering. There are some things to be angry about. And may I just say that if you never ever get angry about anything at all, like ever, you're a vegetable. You're a cucumber. Or maybe a carrot. We need to take your pulse. And again, there is a constructive anger, and there is a destructive anger. When I was a kid growing up with 4 brothers, us 5 boys, would often in the living room get on the living room floor and have a wrestling match. And especially in the wintertime when it was too cold to play outside, my dad would be at work working long hours. My mom would be working around the house, and she would whistle while she worked. She was a happy person. She was peaceful. Shoes would be flying past her head like torpedoes, and it was like it didn't even faze her. She didn't miss a beat. Us kids would be on the living room floor wrestling and fighting until someone would get hurt. And when someone got a broken nose or a bloody lip, that's when my mom, you would see another side of her, this mama bear, as she would step into the living room, and she would always say the exact same thing. It was like this internal code language. We knew exactly what she meant. She would say, "Mama doesn't allow any fighting in this house." And when she would say that, it's it. It's over. It's done. Did you know that there's also some anger that can be very destructive? One of my best friends I grew up with was regularly beaten by his father when we were in the ages of 12, 13, and 14, and up to 15. His dad would come home in a fit of rage and anger and just take it out on my friend Mike. Sometimes he would come home late at night drunk, pull him out of bed and beat up on my friend. His mother would have to keep him home from school for days until the bruises and the black eyes healed up. That is a very destructive and abusive expression of anger through physical abuse. But did you know there's also an expression of destructive anger through criticizing, through verbal abuse, through taking shots at each other, and constantly nagging that wears on the family, the health, the life, the safety of the family. In Proverbs chapter 17 and verse 9, we read, "Love forgets mistakes, nagging about them parts the best of friends." Constantly nagging. Never forgetting the mistakes. I heard about two guys that were on a construction job site. They were on their lunch break eating bologna sandwiches, and the one guy said to the other guy, "Last night, my wife got historical." His buddy laughed and said, "No, she didn't get historical. You mean she got hysterical." He said, "No, she got historical. She told me everything I've ever done wrong." Proverbs 19:11. "It is to your glory to overlook an offense." Interesting. It is to your glory or to your credit to overlook an offense. It's beneficial to overlook the little things and the big things that people say and do. And whenever you're able to do this, it's a mark of emotional maturity in your life, and it shows that you are secure in who you are, and you're living out of your true identity. That you're able to overlook the offense of other people. Number two, we show mercy in the home by being kind when they don't deserve it. Oh, now this is difficult. To be kind when they don't deserve it, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem fair. And did you know that in every extended family system, there are always degrees of dysfunction? You know, we often get together in conversations and we talk about such and such family and how they're so dysfunctional. Reality is, all of our families to some degree are dysfunctional because there's no such thing as a perfect family. I mean, that was back in the days of Leave It to Beaver, and that wasn't even real. And so in every family, there are those who are emotionally immature. There are those who are irritable and strike out. And then there are also what I would call VDPs. You say, Jim, what is a VDP? I've never heard of a VDP. It's a very draining person. You know anybody that's a VDP? If they're here today, maybe even sitting next to you, please don't look at them now. Don't even go there. We also have difficult people, and we have demanding people. And we're to somehow show them kindness when they don't even deserve it? You got to be kidding. Why would you in your right mind ever want to do that? May I be the first to admit that sometimes I'm the VDP. Sometimes I'm the difficult person. Sometimes I'm the demanding person. And I'm so grateful that God doesn't give me what I deserve in life. He gives me what I need. And what I need is mercy. And even as we've been given mercy, we're to extend mercy to others. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4, we read, love is patient, love is kind, love always perseveres. Notice those three words, love is kind. Kind. A wise man once said, kindness goes a long way in life, but it must always begin in the home. This is where we practice kindness, is in the home. You say, Jim, why would I want to show kindness to somebody who doesn't even deserve it? Because of this. Showing kindness to a person who doesn't deserve your kindness can very well be an expression of worship that brings a smile on God's face. Did you know the scriptures tell us that kindness makes us attractive? Imagine that. Kindness makes us attractive. Forget about the Botox. Save your money. Just be more kind. You'll be so much more attractive. In Proverbs 3:27, we read here, whenever you are able, do good to people who need help. Why would you want to show kindness to others when they don't deserve your kindness? Why would you want to do that? Because they need your help. What if we looked at this in a different light? What if we didn't look at them with a critical eye? What if we looked at each other with mercy and compassion and realized there's a reason for this and they really need my help, and the best way I can help is show kindness to people who don't even deserve it. And number three, this one's really hard. It's the hardest of all. By letting go of past hurts. And I realize today that I'm speaking to those of you who've experienced some traumatic things in your life. You've experienced different forms of abuse. You've gone through such dark and difficult times in life. You have suffered the emotional pain of betrayal and abandonment in your life. You know how painful that is. And I want you to know that when I say, let go of past hurts, that I'm not in any way minimizing the magnitude of the pain that you have suffered, and for some of you, you are suffering. I get you. I understand the struggle's real. When it comes to past hurts, I know what it's like to have those vivid memories surface in my mind, and attached to them are those feelings that are still alive as if I'm in the moment. I know how hard that can be to just shake and to just somehow let go. And I know that sometimes it's impossible to do that, to just let it go. But with God, all things are possible. It's impossible for you and I to just do it on our own. But when we honestly humble ourselves before God and say, God, I can't let this go. Would you give me the grace? Would you give me the ability? Lord, show your power in my weakness. And you invite Jesus into the pain that you're experiencing. He will bring healing and restoration. He will give you the ability to make that all-important decision to let it go so you can move on. In 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 5, we read, love keeps no record of wrongs. Let me ask you a personal question. Do you keep a mental record of the wrongs of your parents? Do you keep a mental record of the wrongs of your spouse? Do you keep a mental record of the wrongs of your children? Why would we do that? Well, especially for married couples, it's the stockpile ammunition. The next time you get in an argument, you just reach in. You start pulling those things out. You've made a mental record of them, and you just let the fire fly. That's not helpful at all. It's extremely hurtful. Love keeps no record of wrongs. In 1 Corinthians 13:5, we read here, love is not rude. Love does not demand its own way. It is not irritable or touchy. It does not hold grudges. Notice the word rude and grudges. Have you noticed that rude people, when you look beneath the surface, are holding a grudge about something that they're not willing to let go? And reality is that hurt people hurt people. And when we see this person who appears to be, they're so rude, there's a reason for it. What if we took a different approach to seek to understand before being understood? What if we would somehow show this rude person kindness and give them the gift of listening and asking questions and finding out what's going on in their life? This is crucially important because of this. Those who are holding on to grudges from the past aren't able to live fully in the present, nor to dream about a better future. And those who are rude and holding on to grudges are making everybody else around them pay. But yet when we invite mercy into the situation, the miracle of mercy produces change in our lives, in our relationships, and in our home. Which leads us to number 4. We show mercy at home by believing God is at work. Believing God is at work. Did you know that God is always at work? There is never a time when God is not at work in your family, in your relationships, in your life, around you, over you, in you, and through you. You must believe that God is at work in your spouse's life even when you don't see it. You must believe that God is at work in your kids' lives when you don't even see it. You must believe that God is at work in your life even when you don't feel it. You don't see the evidence of it. It's a choice to trust the invisible, mighty hand of God, even as He's moving in this place, and that as He's at work in you right now as you're processing the very things that I'm speaking about. God's hand is at work in and over and around and through your life to bring healing and hope, redemption, and imparting mercy to you. Not only just mercy for others, but mercy for you personally. And for some of you, especially moms, you're so hard on yourself, you can't even live up to your own expectations. You sometimes become your own worst enemy. What if you were to lighten up and give yourself some mercy in the home? Imagine the difference this would make. In 1 Corinthians 13:7, we read, love always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Notice that love, it always trusts. Where is your trust level? Are you trusting God in your relationship with your spouse, with your children? How do you know if you're really trusting God? By your prayer life. How you pray about your family, your finances, your future, your children, and how you pray. In Psalm 28, verse 2, we read, Lord, hear my prayer for mercy when I call to you for help, when I lift up my hands toward your most holy place. And here's this incredibly good news. For those of us who are Christ followers, we have an open invitation and access to come with great confidence to God's throne of grace, that we might obtain mercy and find help in our time of need. What do you do in life when you're in the midst of the storm? What do you do when it seems as if everything around you is falling apart? What do you do when you don't see any light at the end of the tunnel and you don't know what the outcome of your situation's going to be? You do what Jeremiah the prophet once did. You remind yourself of God's mercy. God's mercy in your life at work. The miracle of mercy. In Lamentations 3:22, this is what Jeremiah said, reminding himself, he said, the faithful love of the Lord never ends. His mercies never cease. Great is his faithfulness. His mercies began afresh each morning. That no matter what you're going through, no matter what you're facing in your darkest hour, it's in the morning hour that once again you remind yourself and you receive God's mercy to be at work in your life. Did you know that at the cross, justice and mercy met at the cross? Justice was served when Jesus was crucified on the cross. So now we must let mercy triumph over judgment. And this is why you can lighten up and not be so hard on yourself. Jesus was nailed at the cross so you can stop nailing yourself. You too can experience mercy for every one of you moms because you matter so much. We need you in the game. We need God's mercy so that your home is a safe, healthy, happy environment that is marked with peace and harmony. It was the psalmist who once said, Let goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'd like to ask all the moms to stand, please. All of you moms, please stand. What a great looking bunch of moms. Could we just give them a hand? Yes, that's awesome. That is great. I just want to pray a prayer of blessing over all the moms that are here today. And then also, just to let you know, after we officially dismiss, if there's something that was stirred in your heart and you feel like you would like to receive more prayer, we're going to have moms up here praying for moms. And one of those moms is going to be Barbie Herndon. I know that's a surprise. She's a mother of 12. Who else would best know the challenges that you are going through but someone like Barbie? All right, let me just pray a blessing over you. God, I thank you for every single mom that's here today and those joining it online. I ask that you would bring your kingdom upon every household, that you would bring order where there's disordered, that you would bring healing where there's hurt. I ask, God, that you would stir faith within us to believe you and trust you, Lord, that you are at work in our lives and in our homes and with our kids and in every way. God, would you just expand our capacity to trust you? And I sense that there are at least one mom here that you've experienced some major trust-busting experiences in your life by those who are a significant other. And you find it difficult to trust God because of the past pain, the hurts in your life. Would you be willing to choose to trust God in a bigger way, to wholeheartedly trust God, to take that risk, because God is perfect and he is trustworthy. For you right now, just surrender it. Just say, Lord, I want to trust you. I want to trust you wholeheartedly. God, I pray that you would bless all these moms, that you would give them favor and wisdom from above. I ask that your hand would be upon them and you would be at work in their lives. Stir our hearts, God, to know you in a deeper, more meaningful way. And give us a hunger for your presence and your word. For we ask this in your name, Jesus. Amen. Hey, you guys, don't forget about next Sunday, baptism weekend. If you are a believer and you've never been baptized, I can tell you with absolute certainty this is your next step. For those of you who would like to receive prayer, come up here. These moms are available to pray for you. God bless you.